What to do about Brent Brennan, because it obviously isn't good, and what could possibly be the next situation for Arizona football.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. This show is brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app and create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, now we are going to talk about Brent Brennan and the catastrophe that is unfolding for Arizona football. But again, like I said on the post-game show, to Colorado fans, the ones that have been there before 2022, good win. You are much better than Arizona this season. Good win, tip of the cap. If you were not there before 2022, no. All right, now let's talk about Brent Brennan and where we're at. Listen, from top to bottom, he's been a disaster, and he's played everything wrong from the get-go, and I think that's something that is somewhat frustrating for somebody that has been a coach for as long as he has. The first thing is, and we've talked about it, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I don't care. What struck me as very odd when he said that. It struck me as very odd that he is not engaged with the fan base at all. That is something that is that's easy. That is easy stuff, and I think that's something that does not make any sense whatsoever. And I think the one thing about it too is that when you look at him and you're like, okay, you say that this is your dream job. If this is your dream job, how in the world then are you going to a presser and saying, you know what, it's not really my job to engage with anybody. I'm here to be the CEO type. Okay, cool. You're the CEO type. Here's my problem then. If you're the CEO type, guess what your job is? Your job is to take care of the situations then and not just go up befuddled in every single press conference. That is the problem. After every single press conference, Brennan is saying, well, the biggest problem is I need to coach better and, just try to figure it out. And, dude, it's hollow at this point. Again, like I said you're the CEO coach. You're the guy that you're going around. You're not calling plays on offense. You're not calling plays on defense. You're not engaged in the community. What exactly are you doing? That to me is the great question here. What exactly are you doing? Because I have no clue what exactly you're doing. So there is that. And then, listen, some people, they're just in over their heads. Like I said, getting in here, and one of the things that he's done this year, he is so worried about injuries. He is so worried about teams knowing things that he is not basically, he's put curtains over the weight room, which is absolutely insane. I've never seen that before. Now, they claim that they were there last year, but no media member has seen them. It's bizarre. Nobody is going to go in there and say, man, you know what we need to do? If we can get some weight room espionage in here, we can really take Arizona out. It's like the tweet that I put out. I was like, well, yeah, and imagine how bad that Colorado loss would have been if those curtains weren't up in the weight room. Everything makes no sense that he's doing, and I think that's what's just so frustrating about where Arizona is at this point. And I don't really see any light at the end of the tunnel. You generally don't get rid of Teteroa McMillan. You generally don't get rid of Jonas Savanea and Jacario Davis and get better the following season. That generally is not the case. So there's obviously that. But he was handed a pretty good situation. Not a great situation, but a pretty good situation. A large percentage of this team returned. And again, I know you lost players. I get all that. But there is absolutely no reason that this team should be as bad as they are. The other thing, too, is there's absolutely no identity whatsoever when it comes to this. How are you this far into the season? You're like, well, I don't really know what our identity is. How does that happen? How are you there? What were you doing this offseason? I guess that's my question. What were you doing this offseason? And how are we at this stage now where it doesn't appear that you know what you're doing? And that's kind of where we're at. Now, you're going to get some people that are going to be like, oh, well, we just need to support the coach. No, get him out of here. That's not what you do. If you know somebody's not the guy, they're not the guy. Now, we're going to talk about what possibly Arizona could be, what possibly Arizona could do in this spot, but there's not a ton outside of somebody giving them a lot of money. So, the first thing, though, that I think that you need to be is, how can you repeat not having this happen again? You got to get rid of the alumni approach. The alumni approach is beyond stupid. Listen, I get what Arizona was trying to do with Brent Brennan. You're like, all right, we bring in a nice guy. You keep the roster together. He hasn't been totally bad at San Jose State, but he clearly wasn't ready for this. I mean, you watch him, he looks like a PE teacher. He doesn't have anything out there that really brings in any air of confidence that he's going to take care of business there. He looks like the guy that, at the end of the day, like when kids are going out to recess and you're like, man, we need a new JV coach. We can maybe see what he can do. He's just there. He's just clapping. And watching him, he doesn't work the refs. He doesn't do anything, really. He just kind of stands there on the sideline. And I think that's what's just so frustrating about this entire situation is that there's no life, there's no energy, there's nothing really. And how are we this far into the season and there's nothing? And he keeps saying it's on me to coach better, it's on me to do this, it's on me to do that. Dude, the time for that is done, man. The time for that was in the first game or two. How did you not know this? And again, how do you have this offense? There's no quick strikes, there's really nothing. And there's no identity. You just really don't know. I mean, it's just awful. There's no way around it. It's just awful what we're seeing, and I don't see this one getting any better. I said it. I will say this. I'm generally wrong on most things, but I was definitely the first media member to be totally out on this guy. He stinks. He's not good. And there was just something about it that really bothered me. When you say that this is your dream job and you say, I'm not going to be out in the community, that's not my role or anything like that, dude, at that point, you're kind of like, all right, what exactly are we doing here? If that's not your job, what is your job then? Because you're not coaching offense, you're not coaching defense. I don't look at, and you didn't bring in anybody. Listen, with the portal, you didn't bring anybody in outside of Quali Conley that has been a contributor. Now, you brought in some other players from San Jose State that aren't good, and you forced them on the field. But, I mean, I guess you get credit for playing guys that aren't good. I don't know. But he has been an unmitigated disaster. And the other thing, too, you watch one of his pressers, and there is absolutely nothing that indicates a man that knows what he's doing. None. He just kind of looks like he's there. He just kind of looks like we're just kind of go through the motions. Everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to do that, and we'll just kind of go from there. So that's kind of where we're at this game. Now with the with Brent Brennan, the one thing is, is there anything that can be corrected? And I don't know that there is anything that can be corrected right now. I mean, because the offense is exactly the same. Not only is the offense the same, it seems to be getting worse. I feel terrible for Noah Fifita. Noah Fifita he takes questions every time, and he takes questions all the time, every time, and every time he takes the blame. But you're being failed by a coaching staff, and that's really where this is at. It's a staff that just doesn't know what it's doing. I'm okay, like I said, I'm okay with Alonzo Carter. Oglesby, I think, is terrible. Bobby Wade, not good. Matt Adkins, I think, has a better future, has maybe a future in the game, but he's also not there at this point either. So there's a lot of, like I said, there's just a lot of questions about where Arizona is going forward, and I don't know that any of those are going to be. I don't know that anybody can really give any credit for it. That's where it's at. I think that I think that's kind of just where we're at. We're going to talk about what Arizona can do then at the next possible situation. But first, before we get into that, what their next options could be, let's talk a little bit about ZBiotics. All right, ZBiotics. Here's the good thing. Go to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege to learn more and get to get 15% off your first order and use code LockedOnCollege at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, and they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege and use LockedOnCollege at checkout for 15% off. Again, every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice the difference the next day. Check it out. A lot of people are using this, and not only that, it works. So again, that's where we're at with ZBiotics. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now, what do you do? Now, I will say this, something that I did find interesting. Had a couple people reach out to me, generally in the know, and I think with the, I do think with, when it comes to this, I do think that there could be an out here. I do think that there is a possibility here for if you can get $10 million, or if you can get $10 million, obviously you can get rid of him because he's clearly not the guy. I think the one thing, though, that is going to be fascinating about this entire endeavor is where exactly are you going to get this money from? But here's where it gets a little bit easier, I think. And not only do I think it gets a little bit easier, I think sometimes I think you kind of like, listen, if you know somebody's not the guy, and that's cool. If you know somebody's not the guy, but what do you do at that point then? And what do you do at that point? And if you just say, well, we'll revisit this in a year or two, it's just going to get worse. You're just going to basically be kicking this thing down the road. And does that work? And I don't know that you can do that. I think in this day and age, if you've got to be able to try to get that money. And if you can get that money, you can get you got to be able to do it. And that's where I'm at. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at his contract right now. There are some things, so it's not necessarily $10 million. So there is that. But you got to be able to get that money. I don't know if DRF can do it. If DRF can do it, then she gets a ton of credit. But I don't know exactly the DRF is going to be able to get that money. But I do think the one thing is you have to be able to do something because this isn't tenable. You go into the off season and nobody is rooting or nobody's going to show up to these games because again, he's got no personality. He's got absolutely no. He's got no personality. There's just no it factor. There's no sizzle, and there's no reason to believe that Arizona will be better next year with what we've seen. And why in the world would somebody come here? I mean, you watch what this offense has done under Noah Fifita. You watch what I know Noah Fifita can play football. I don't care what anybody says. I know Noah Fifita can play football, and you don't all of a sudden just forget how to play. That's where I put so much of this on that staff because they don't know. Like I said, they just appear in over their head. I think the other thing too that when you look at him is you're like, okay, not only is that the case. You also know for a fact that as well that he's not gonna rally anybody. When you watch him in there, you also do know that nothing's really gonna change. You watch him in every single presser. It's not like he's going to come up with some new system, some new off-season ideal. And what I start to worry about, too, is does Dwayne Aquino want to stick around for this? Dwayne Aquino has been absolutely great for Arizona football. I think considering the job that he's done as a DC, it's, he's been very, very good, especially with all the injuries, everything that this team has sustained. Are you really going to go? I mean, does Dwayne Aquino really want to go through that? So you got to figure that out, because this could be a 3-win team next year. And not only could this be a 3-win team, this could be an all-time bad situation, because there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing about it. You're going to start seeing players decommit. That's just what happens when you've got a bad coach. And you're going to see, like I said, you're going to see a lot of problems, and I would expect that to encounter. Now, one name to keep an eye on if Brennan is around would be Marcus Arroyo. Marcus Arroyo is a guy who I think it's fair to say is I think Marcus Arroyo is the dude that he is very close with Brennan. I believe they were in their wedding, or he was in their wedding. Maybe you bring him in. I don't even think Marcus Arroyo is a good offensive coordinator, but he's certainly better than the things that Arizona has put out there, and at least you know what he wants to do. That is my biggest problem with this coaching staff, is that you've got a lot of guys that I don't know what they want to do on the offensive side. Do they want to be a power run game? Do they want to run the ball? Do they want to throw the ball? Why are there no quick outs? Why is there no tempo? Everything is just kind of just goes by the everything just kind of goes by the kind of goes by where we're at this point. Now, where is this now going forward? Maybe Marcus Arroyo is somebody you bring in, but Brennan's done. I don't know how else to say this. Brennan's done. This community has turned on him. He's given himself no goodwill. And not only is he not giving himself any goodwill, he's put out a terrible product on the field. And so there is that. And again, he's been odd. He's been secretive. There's just been a lot. This was supposed to be a go for broke season, and this dude absolutely tanked it. Not only did he absolutely tank it, it's been embarrassing to watch. And there's never any answers. You watch the onside kick was pathetic. Now, granted, it might have worked, but the player decided not to try to jump on the ball, but who cares? You're basically giving up before the game starts at that point. And then you kick a 51-yard field goal to make it possibly 21-10 when you're giving up touchdowns left and right. This is the guy that is punting the ball on 4th and 4 at the opponent's 38. And with like 3 minutes left, when his team hasn't stopped anybody, thinking that he's going to get the ball back. It doesn't work, man. It just doesn't work. And there's been nothing about him that's been good. I don't know exactly where to go from here. But again, it's bad. It's whether it's this year or whether it's next year, this dude's done. I don't know how else to put it. He's done. And, watching the press conference tomorrow, I can tell you exactly how it's going to go. He's going to say, well, I need to coach better. We need to put our guys in a better position. Rinse and repeat. There's absolutely nothing, when I say nothing, that gives you any confidence that there's nothing that gives you any confidence about him. So we will see. But now you got basketball coming up. We're going to preview that here in just a minute, because again, basketball, obviously this should be a very good basketball team. I'm excited to be able to talk about this because they're actually good. You want to be able to watch a good basketball team. And again, one thing that I'm going to keep telling people, I do not want anybody to complain ever about Tommy Lloyd. At this stage in the game, we need to do whatever possible to keep Tommy Lloyd happy, because say what you want about the postseason, all of that, the dude wins games. He has his style. He knows that he wants to get up and down. You know exactly what you're getting with Tommy Lloyd. And unfortunately, you know exactly what you're getting with Brent Brennan, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. All right, here's the deal. Check out Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Again, you can go to Gametime and you can get all kinds of really, really good deals there. Gametime. So, download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime. What time is it? Gametime. All right. Now, you're probably not going to have to use Gametime to go to the Arizona football games, obviously. There's no, because people are not going to be going to this. But download the Gametime app for cool events. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms do apply. Check it out. Download the Gametime app today. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk about the next step here for Arizona football. Like I said, he's done. When the next coach, you got to find somebody that you know what they want to do. They have an identity. They have that has an identity. There's been none of that. So there is that. When it comes to basketball, though, Tommy Lloyd, say what you want, Tommy Lloyd has an identity, and that's why it is easy. Tommy Lloyd is looking to get the ball up and down the court. He is looking to run. He is looking to play a free-flowing style, and he's going to give his players a lot of freedom. Now, you might say sometimes it's too much freedom, but at least I know exactly what Tommy Lloyd wants to do, and that's what is exciting about Tommy Lloyd. That is what is exciting about Arizona basketball. There is a blueprint there. He knows what he wants to do. And this is going to be a fun team. You got the exhibition tonight. Go there and watch if you can. You got Trey. I'm excited to see Trey Townsend, how he fits into this offensive role, because I think he's going to be like I said, I think he's a very underrated passer. I think he's a pretty good rebounder. There's a lot to like about him. And I'm going to keep saying this. He's a dude that can get his. Arizona needs guys that can get their own buckets. With Tommy Lloyd's system, a lot of times, you're gonna be stuck where a guy isn't going to be able to get his, or the clock starts running down. Who can get theirs? And with Arizona teams, we've seen that. Against Princeton, you saw it. There was literally nothing in that Princeton game that nobody could make plays off the bounce. And that's really kind of what it comes down to. Last year, Caleb Love was that guy, but the problem with Caleb Love, though, is that he would just start settling for threes and just shooting a ton of threes. You can't have that happen. And so you got to find people that can make plays off the bounce. You got Caleb Love back here this year. That's a really good thing. You also got Trey Townsend back. Trey Townsend in. Trey Townsend has shown that he can make plays a little bit off the bounce. He can shoot a little bit. There's a lot to like about Trey Townsend. And honestly, I think that he is going to be one that's going to surprise a lot of people, because he's put up big numbers against teams. And not only has he put up numbers against good teams, he's also been the guy that he's also been the player that is he plays his best against good teams. So that's why when people are like, well, what if he's another Dylan Smith, this or that? I have a big enough track record with him going against Kentucky, going against North Carolina State, going against Illinois, where he's putting up numbers, and teams knew that he was coming. I think he's going to be great next to Mo Krivas. And like I said, watch the passing. The passing, I think, is going to be a very underrated part of what he does. So there's that's obviously going to be a fun part of being able to watch this Arizona basketball team. The next thing is, besides just the passing, getting the rebounding. I mean, this is a dude that knows how to position himself. He knows the Charles Barkley approach, how to go about and get rebounds, and it works for him. So there's that as well. But I'm excited to see just what he can do, because I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And not only surprise a lot of people, I think he's going to be somebody that Arizona really hasn't quite had at that post position in a while. Plus, Azuolas Tubelis, as good as he was kind of a weenie. When NCAA tournament time came, Azuolas Tubelis was not the guy that you wanted. He was hesitant, he was nervous, he was scared. You didn't want Azuolas Tubelis. I think Trey Townsend is the opposite. He's shown people what he can do, and not only has he shown people what he can do, I think he's also shown that he can get he can make his own plays. That's what you need. Now, Jaden Bradley at the point, I'm very bullish on Jaden Bradley. I think he's going to be able to get to the bucket. I think that he's going to be an all Big 12 defensive player. And I think KJ Lewis, you could say the same as well. This is a top 10 team. Like I said, going into the Big 12, it's going to be fascinating because you have so many teams and it's going to be a gauntlet. This isn't the Pac-12. But come NCAA tournament time, this is also going to be something where Arizona is in a lot better shape, I believe, because armor sharpens armor. Even though I know that's the wrong term now, I still like that term. But Arizona, I have a lot of expectations for this team, and I wouldn't surprise me at all if this is Tommy Lloyd's best team. It's certainly going to be his toughest team, and that's something that I need. I think it's going to be his toughest, maybe not his most skilled, but certainly his toughest. And in the Big 12, I will take toughness at that point. I mean, heck, you look at Houston. They can't score, but they're going to beat teams by not scoring because of how good their defense is. So there's a lot to like in that situation as well, so we will see that, obviously. But, like I said, Brent Brennan, I'll be stunned, but I think Brent Brennan's done. And with Arizona basketball, it's right around the corner. We're already here, man. And it's going to be a lot of fun because, again, this is going to be a roller coaster, but it's something that we should all be here for. And I think that's why this is so exciting, because you know that, you got a good product coming up. We've watched a lot of bad products. With this, you know what you've got, and I think that's what's so exciting about all of this. So, again, it is what it is. Brent Brennan, not the dude. Tommy Lloyd is the dude. Get out there for the game tonight, and we're obviously going to be talking about that a lot tomorrow as well. But, as always, very, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Bear down, back the A. Again, sometimes back in the A is calling the way it seems. Brent Brennan, not the dude. Tommy Lloyd is the dude. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day.